Welcome to the No Name Brand Podcast. My name is Sashka Hanarappel, actress, singer, dancer, turned brand marketing, sales, and advertising strategist who brands your soul. And each week I bring you an inspiring person or message to help you discover your undergod, turn up your leadership notches, challenge the status quo, because you're fast and furious with a powerful message to share with the world. Thank you for taking time out with me today, and without further ado, let's get our creative and wisdom juices flowing. Hey, everyone, and we are back in the house. So good to have you here with me today. So recently I saw a fun exercise going around on social media, and you had to comment on what your favorite pastime event was. And my sister so eloquently commented, "Seeing the back of my eyelids. Another name for this is called sleeping." This made me snort laugh because it was like seriously funny, because seriously, that's what I love doing as well in my pastime. Now, sleeping is my go-to when I need to recharge. And I don't know about you, but maybe you're the same. And our next guest, who's been featured on The Guardian, Forbes, Brides, The Huffington Post, Reader's Digest, and more, is the boss on the subject of sleeping and helping everyone learn about sleep and how to do it properly. I mean, who would have thought that there would be anything like this in the world today, right? But there is. In fact, our next guest is all about sleeping like a boss. As a certified functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, my God, I said that without making a mistake, Spencer Institute certified sleep science coach and nutritional therapist. Holy moly, people! Our guest combines emotional, lifestyle, and biochemical stress management in bespoke programs for her clients. Ooh, I'm getting excited about this because I want to know more. Now, this chica has her groove on and she likes to laugh a lot, much like her favorite animation character, Kronk. We like Kronk. So let's get to meet this wonderful woman, shall we? Because I want to know more about sleep, because I want to sleep better tonight. How about you? Here she is, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Christina Hansen. Hello, Christina.
Wow, what an introduction. Thank you. Hi, how are you?
I am very, very, very well. Thank you. I'm not fast asleep. And for those listening, Christina's not fast asleep either, because she's like switched on, people, switched on.
Wide awake.
So share with us today, where are you in the world and where are you from? Where are you going?
Oh, wow. It's a big question, but I am located in Luxembourg, which is in Europe, small country. Where am I from in terms of, well, genetically Colombia, but I was adopted when I was 4 months old, so bred in Luxembourg. Where am I going? Really taking over the world. I'm actually planning my speaking tour for next year in the States mainly. So next year you'll be having me buzzing around, jetting around, speaking and having people fall asleep.
Hopefully not whilst you're speaking.
Hopefully not. I'm very good at my job though, it might happen.
I love it. I love it. So how did all this start with sleep? Like, did you grow up and you're going, oh, I'd like to teach people how to sleep? Like,
yeah.
Was this a thing?
I mean, isn't that the dream every little girl has,
Well, actually, that's what I tell my kids. I'm like, you need to sleep in order to grow. You need to sleep in order for your brain to grow. So yeah, sleep is a big thing, maybe because it's a big thing to me. But
True. No, for me, so I was standing there and I was 7 months pregnant and I have my very good friend, Joanne, who's a very blonde person. And she was just telling me it's never going to be the same again. And you need to understand that I'm a person who needs her sleep. Like I really, really feel when I'm just missing half an hour or an hour of my perfect sleep, it is haunting me all day long. So yesterday evening, I had a little bit of a night out. So today I'm just like, okay, I need to nap because I really, really feel it. So when I was 7 months pregnant and my friend told me that I would never sleep again, and that pretty much everyone around me told me that I would never sleep again, I was freaking out. I was really freaking out because I didn't want to be a zombie parent. Plus, I didn't have any idea about babies. And I was like, I'm going to kill this little human being if I'm sleep deprived, right? So that's how I got into sleep. And the more I was successful with my little one, so she slept when she was 9 weeks old. And the more I told people about it, talked to people about it, the more I discovered that the people who you think would have the easiest of lives and who have everything, like career, family, money, great jobs, leadership positions, that they were actually the ones who had most trouble sleeping. So I was thinking maybe the things that I've learned with my baby would apply to adults as well. And it did to some extent, but it wasn't quite enough. That's why I added all of those other diplomas, because I was really looking and digging and looking what is affecting sleep. And it really turns out that sleep is a 360 kind of gig, right? So you have to look at mindset, coaching, stress management, but also really the body. So my system is looking at, yes, sleep habits, but it's really also looking at thyroid, hormone balance, gut health, food sensitivities. And so when I look at this 360 picture, that's when magic is happening. And that's why I'm successful with my clients.
Because there's a huge thing going, well, maybe I didn't notice it before. It's like when you notice you want to buy a red car and suddenly there's red cars everywhere. So I didn't notice it before, but sleep is like this huge, like humongous thing now. Like Arianna Huffington and Gary Vee and Dr. Eric Thomas, 4 hours is all you need. And the others are like, are you out of your freaking mind? And Elon Musk and going off social media because nobody's agreeing with me. And you're like, okay. And apps like Calm, Headspace, that's not just meditating, but bringing you into that space. So where's this all going? Why is this all happening? Is there something that we haven't been informed about by the government, that we're all going to die because we're not?
Yeah, definitely. It's conspiracy. It's all out there. So I attribute, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. So there's a lot happening. And I think there's different factors. So for me, I knew that 2016 was going to be a brilliant year to launch because Arianna Huffington had declared that she would publish Sleep Revolution. So she had this huge PR marketing machinery behind her, which pushed sleep, in my opinion, much more to the foreground than it ever had been before in terms of media and PR. So I piggybacked her wave, right? So we're looking for sleep experts all over the place. And here I was, Google, bam, number one. So I think that was a big one. The other thing is that research is just catching up, right? Sleep has always been the ugly duckling. It's not been interesting. It's only been in the 17th since they started to really have a budget for really doing research. And so that has started to really come up. And then the tech industry has obviously caught up with it as well. So I was just in Lisbon at the Web Summit, and Thursday was the health conference. So you have lots of artificial intelligence and whatever is starting to happen in the healthcare system, data protection and all kinds of things. And sleep had 2 panels, actually. And you had the calm guys, of course. You had a sleep scientist, and then you had a guy with some gadgets to measure your sleep. But it's always, every year, sleep is a big topic. And I think it's because research is showing more and more damage that is happening if you don't have enough sleep. We have this huge shift that is happening through society in general, where it's less grind and more quality of the one life that we have. And sleep is just one of the 3 pillars, which is nutrition, exercise, and sleep. It's one of these 3 things that you need to be mindful about. And so it's finally starting to get its place, to claim its space in that area. And I think it's a topic I consider sometimes like Alcoholics Anonymous, because it's still very much taboo, because people feel they're not supposed to complain. It's such an easy thing. If I can't sleep, I'm sure I'm really weird and nobody else will understand, so I won't say anything. And it's when you suddenly see how many people are in that same situation and that you are not exaggerating, it's ruining your life, even though it should be normal, it really creates a home for those people. And that's what I really try to do, to help them to say, it's okay. And the thing is that people who do manage to sleep don't understand what it's like if you cannot sleep. There's a big difference. And my clients are definitely those who can't. Like they want to sleep, but they can't. So when they say that I'm tired because I haven't been sleeping, it's not because they binge watched Game of Thrones for a night, right? It's because it's been months and years where they haven't been able to sleep for like a week in a go. It's awful. It's influencing everything. Your body is falling apart. Your lifestyle is falling apart. Your relationships are falling apart. And it's just because of this stupid thing that's called sleep, right? And it should be easy. And those are the people that I live and breathe for.
Mm. Well, spelt back, it's peels. So you're basically peeling back different layers whilst you're sleeping, because you're going to the different levels when you're sleeping. I read something, God, this is like ages ago, but there was like when you wake up at different times in the evening, then it has something to do with different parts of your body. Like if you wake up at 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning, can't remember what it was, but that was really interesting. Your liver. Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. Christina knows, people. So what happens when we wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning?
So this is all based on Chinese medicine. And in Chinese medicine, it's basically every organ has their peak time. And very often around 2, 3, especially, it's the liver that's starting to kick in. And when you have toxins in your body and you have inflammation in your body, it's normal that it's kicking up things. And we all wake up during the night. We have sleep cycles. So we connect different sleep cycles and we wake up between them. But if you have everything okay, you will just connect one to the other. So you might rearrange your pillow, you might change your sleeping position, but then you fall back asleep. But if you have like an inflammation going on because of detoxification reasons or because you have parasites or bacteria, which a lot of people do, then it's making it harder because your body is actually on edge. And that's why sometimes I say you can be like the chillest guy in the room or in who you know, you can meditate your brains out. If physiologically your body is on edge, there's nothing you can do, right? You can have the blank state, but it's still going to be impossible to fall back asleep, which is why I really look at both angles.
Mm. You've written a book called Sleep Like a Boss.
Yeah.
What's in this book? Are you speaking about the thyroid? Are you helping?
What was I thinking? Yeah.
Like, well, I fall asleep whilst I'm reading the book. And then
No, I'm actually very honest. I don't really like my book.
Oh!
So I wrote it at the time because, you know, it's what you're supposed to do. It's not bad. It's not bad. But it is like any other sleep book. So it's written in a very conversational tone, which is really nice, right? So it's not like a jargon, blah, blah thing. It's really me talking to you. And you can also pick it up wherever you want to. So you don't have to read it in a chronological order. Most of it is about sleep habits, what you can do. We go into nutrition a little bit. We go into hormones a little bit, but really just scratching the surface. So the second book is in my head where I will go into that a lot more in detail, because I discovered all of that after I'd written the book, right?
Oh.
So I dove into that a lot more after I'd written the book. So I'm torn. I think it is enough for people who just want to perfect their sleep or, you know, who know I could do better.
Mm.
But I'm very candid. It's not enough for those who really have chronic sleep issues. And that's why I'm always a little bit like, I do like my book, but I really don't like it that much. I find there's so much more that I need to say. It's just, I don't like writing.
That's so funny.
So having to write a second book is, So it's probably going to be a compilation of my blog posts at the moment that I have out there. So I would really suggest to those who want to dive deeper to go actually to my blog. It has a lot more information on there than in my book. And it saves you money because it's free. So here I go as a genius businesswoman, right?
Oh my God. So you're traveling quite a lot. So you're all over the world at the moment. How do you deal, or how do people also deal with jet lag? Because that's also a bit of a shock to the body.
Yes. So there's different techniques that you can do. And actually, I'm traveling to Denver on Wednesday and I'm testing out a new app that I find absolutely amazing. So in general, what I watch that, it depends on how long I go, right? So if I have a stint that is just 3 days, I usually don't try to acclimatize. I stay in my old time zone, which means that I go to bed like at 5 p.m. like an old lady. And I get up at 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. and start working in the destination time. So mainly the US. If it's a longer time and I know that it's an important event, I will either see whether I can get there 1 to 2 days earlier. And I try to really stick to the new time, working a lot with light, sunlight, caffeine, melatonin if I need to in the evening if I can't fall asleep. Usually that's not a problem though for me. And if I cannot go there earlier, then I will try to pre-adjust from home. Now, in normal case scenario, I used to say that you can adjust 2 time zones per day. But I've discovered a new app at the Web Summit, actually, and it's called Time Shifter. And it's this fantastic thing that's been developed with a sleep scientist and with NASA. And you basically tell it your flight, your destination, and it's telling you in advance what you can do to optimize your sleep pattern to have the least amount of jet lag possible. So it will tell you right now you should avoid bright lights or put on some blue light blocking glasses. Right now you should get in touch with a lot of light. Now you should have a coffee. This is when, if you want to take melatonin, this is when you should take it. And they claim that you can actually adjust 3 to 4 time zones per day. So I'm actually going to do a live experiment next week. My adjustment starts on Monday. And we will see, because I have a hardcore workshop going on for 2 days in Denver, and I need to be sharp. I need to be absolutely focused, and there's going to be some recording as well, so I need to look good. So if that app is letting me down, I'm going to trash those guys, but no, I'm sure it's going to be totally fine. So I'm really excited to test it out.
I love that. I'm really curious. You spoke before about people really not being able to sleep. Like these are your soul clients that you really, really want to work with. I mean, I know you said before it's got to do with like with your gut and with your thyroid and your nutrition and stress levels and stuff. But to some extent, some things are balanced out, but not being able to sleep at all. What's causing that? How does that get resolved? What are steps there to get that resolved?
Yeah, so not sleeping at all is actually not happening. Even if people think they don't sleep, they do. We are notoriously bad at interpreting how much we sleep, right? So if people go to sleep like they say, I've only slept for an hour, and it's like, no, you actually slept 4. So just out of the gate. But there's different reasons why this kind of ecosystem within ourselves, this kind of network is being affected. The main thing is you have to imagine that your body is like a web of different connections, and depending on which string you pull, it's going to have a reaction somewhere else. So my job is to figure out which kind of strings are being pulled for sleep. And instead of going one by one, for example, through them, which is what the traditional model does, it's like you have this symptom, so we're going to put a Band-Aid on that. I really try to find the underlying reason. And the main core root causes are pretty much always stress-induced inflammation in the gut. And that is in turn affecting your hormones. And as soon as those are out of balance, sleep is one of the first things to go, depending on the person, right? So you also have people who have chronic stress for like decades and nothing will affect their sleep. They might have a different symptom. So for my clients, their sleep is just connected to this. And the problem is that your resilience gets lower, obviously, the less you sleep, but also the more your body is being damaged. So it's this two-way street, which is why I really focus on both. Like my questions to you are, yes, we're scientific. We have lab tests. We will tweak those. But at the same time, my questions are about you, your life, your job, your workforce, whatever your relationships. If you want to tell me about it, I'm obviously not going to pound you about it, but usually it's just flows that way. And that is really personal, and it's just individual how much your sleep is affected by those things. But in general, once we start working on those, your sleep comes back pretty quickly, and there's a whole other arsenal of things that is also falling back into place. So I sometimes have to smile because what I do is, yes, it's niched on sleep and I focus on that in particular, but it's much bigger than just sleep really. But my people find me because of that.
Yeah. Well, that's the main start when people are like, oh, I can't sleep. Or are there huge differences between adult and teenage sleep? Because there's so much stress and pressure on young adults at the moment.
Yeah.
Not at the moment, just been building.
Just in general. Well, I think big problem with teenagers is that they have a delayed circadian rhythm or delayed biological clock. So naturally they would get tired a lot later and they would actually sleep longer. So having school though, which is in Luxembourg, it starts at 8 a.m. Some students have to get up before 6 a.m. in order to take the bus, to take public transport to get there. It's totally against their natural rhythm. So they are chronically sleep deprived because they can't fall asleep before, because it's not natural to them, but then they are woken up too early. So that, on top of having your hormones going crazy, I usually take the example of menopause for women. Everyone knows menopause for women isn't fun. But a teenager has like a gazillion times more hormones developing, and we don't really account for that. We just take it for granted, but it's big, right? For a lot of them, yes, it is going to impact their sleep, plus their stress levels, plus them being sleep deprived because we are forcing them to live in a pattern that is not natural to them at all. I find that we put a lot of stress on them. And I was a teacher for 10 years, right, with teenagers. So I know what I'm talking about. And I also know my favorite lessons were actually from 8 to 9 because everyone was just asleep. Like they would just be present, but literally their brain isn't functioning the way it could because it's naturally in standby mode, right? So as a teacher, that was great. You would just preach along and nobody would disturb you. But now looking back at it, it's just ridiculous.
Like, how have you changed yourself to be the change in the world that you want to see?
Oh my God, I've done so much. It's ridiculous. Like, so I would say half of my adult life, I actually lived half asleep, right? So when I came back from university, I went the traditional way here in Luxembourg. I did my teaching education and I became a teacher, and I was convinced that I would do that for the rest of my life. But I wasn't happy. And something that's important to understand is that in Luxembourg, teaching is actually a great job. You have a really, really nice salary. You have a contract for life. You have loads of holidays, 8 weeks in the summer paid, all paid. And it's like a 5K salary. So it's lovely. But it didn't make me happy. So I decided to get out of that and to start my business. And I discovered that a business has to grow from within. So you need to know who you actually are in order to be a successful business person, especially as I am my business. Like I am the sleep boss, right? So people see me and they want to work with me or they don't. So term mindset, I'd never heard before. The term personal development, I'd never heard before. And so over the last 3 years, I've done a lot of it. It's changed me tons. But I'm very happy to say that right now, I actually know who I am. I really like what I do and who I am right now. It also means that I left people behind, that I changed a lot, that my relationships have changed. But I know what I want to do and I know how to do it. And I know that whenever the day comes where, my life is done, I will not have any regrets. So it's been hard. It's been a lot of different influences that have helped me, but I know what I want to do, right? And how to do it. So that's great.
I love that. And how are you building your brand? Because I always say anyone can create a business. Anyone can start a business. You just need a product, sell it, and you get money for it. Building a brand to influence generations, totally different. How are you building your brand?
So I knew from the beginning that I didn't want to be someone who has a practice where I work 40 hours, and just see people on an hourly basis and pay and have an hourly rate. That's not how I work. I knew from the beginning that I wanted to be more high end because I like beautiful, luxurious, exquisite things, exclusive things. And I knew that that's what I wanted to do. So the vibe has always been a little bit more high end. Funnily enough, my branding has always been quite feminine because I only wanted to work with women. But it turned out that actually attracted a lot of men because the target that I work with, which is CEOs, executives, high achievers, high performers, athletes, they have their daily life in such a harsh, competitive world that they are actually feeling very comfortable with me sitting there in my sneakers, just very casual, very honest, and also being a young woman, not threatening in a way, right? So it's not this typical corporate alpha environment. So I found that actually most of my clients are end 50s or 50s, 60s alpha type males. So people who have a lot of responsibilities and that I work really well with them, that I really connect very well with them. So my branding has changed over the years, but it's always been consistent in terms of that I knew that I was not a coach for the masses. That's my very conscious choice. I'm a coach rather for the selected few. And I've always positioned myself that way. So the way that I show myself, the way I present myself, it's a little bit more glam, I would say, opulent, at the same time, very honest. Like super honest, down to earth, no bullshit kind of thing. And I've learned that the more authentic I am, the more the right people connect to me. Work. It's really growing from the inside out.
It is. Oh, Christina, we're coming to the end. And I have 2 questions that I ask all my guests. One of them being for you to fill in the blanks on 3 of my core values and what they mean to you. So passion for you is?
My life.
Oh, I like that. Wisdom for you is?
Every lesson I learn every day.
Creativity for you is?
Laughter.
Oh, yes. Bring
That's
it
when
on.
the best thing happens, right? Going out and laughing. That's when it's like, oh.
Best thing ever. How do you want to change or challenge the world doing what you do?
Here's the funny thing. Everyone has their why. My why doesn't have anything to do with people. I don't like people that much. Like my why has to do with animals. My big goal is to make lots of money to make an impact in the anti-poaching movement. So illegal hunting of animals, especially those that are nearly extinct. I find they're innocent. We are way too smart sometimes for our own good. So that's my huge goal. That's what I work for. That's what I have money for. And every quarter, half of my profits go towards. So that's my big why.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Christina, thank you so much for being with us here today and sharing your information and wisdom and creativity and passion about sleeping and about yourself as well. And for inspiring our listeners as well to sleep better tonight, to take care of what they're eating, their health, their mind, body, soul, and to try out that app as well if they're going to be traveling. And if it doesn't work, you'll hear about it on social media. Exactly. And you can find out more about Christina in the show notes. You'll find out her favorite book, her favorite quote, where she is on social media. She's pretty funny on social media as well. She's got some good quotes and she makes you laugh. And also her book, you can find out about that and about the second one coming out. We'll just hold her accountable to that one because we need her, people. Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for being with us here today, my gorgeous listeners, and I will see and hear you again next week. And in the meantime, remember to be the change that you want to see in the world, living fast and furious for your passion, for your creativity, and your wisdom. Love you all lots and have an awesome day. Thank you. Bye-bye. Dang, that was just supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I enjoyed having you on board, and please do me and you a favor. Head on over to iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. Click subscribe, and a super bonus, leave your review and you stand a chance of being announced and advertised on the show. I'm always striving to ensure that your brand is uplifted and empowered. Remember, done is better than perfect. So be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and send in your feedback too. You're the absolute best. Keep rocking.